First of all, Howard and Debbie, all the Diesel family, whom I love from this part of the world. Thank you very much for let me talk with you. Let me be with you. Really is an honor for me. And I tell you guys and girls, I see some friends. You will find some school friends of mine in the auditorium.
Oh,
So
wow.
you
Lovely.
can any people can ask me a question. So I will tell you a little secret. In spite I speak English. Um, Sometimes I have some difficult to listen when people speak very fast. So
Okay.
the only thing I ask you, please help me speaking a little bit slow so I can hear. And then really I can ask you any question. I can help you in all your concerns. Somebody in the web says, I would like to know why many of these projects fail. Yeah, I will show you the reasons, and you can ask me what you want. Well, for beginning, I have
So
a
sorry,
company.
Marita. Sorry, Marita. We actually have somebody's hand up already. Jua from Elite Technology has their hand up. Would you like to ask a question, Jua?
Do I? Sorry about that. Didn't mean to.
Ah, okay. All right. Okay, all yours, Marita.
Okay, this I will share once again. Well, my name is Marita. This is my company, my people who my chatbot. So she
Sorry,
says you
Marita.
can answer any question. You can make any question. Well, I will tell you first of all some of my experience. I will tell you something. I am not really an IT people. I can define myself mostly a business people who learned and continue learning the IT value and the IT technologies. So what I used to help my clients is aligning the technology to the business problems. That's why I entered, introduced myself to the data world. So I am a data lover. What I have heard in my experience, for instance, some months ago, a big company called me and told me, "Hi Marita, we need an analytical model to make a forecast demand. So we have to plan the material requirements, the sale requirements." And I say, okay, tell me how is the quality of your data? And they say a little bit bad. We don't have all the data. When I reviewed the data, well, I found that they didn't have correctly the segments of the clients. So if you don't have the segments of the clients correctly, obviously you cannot predict the demands of this client. Then I say, okay, we have to first of all clean the data and tell me what about your processes. When I made a little review of the processes, they were very bad. And what we say is, oops. So they said they thought maybe this company is not the good company for us. So they were looking and they talked with 3 or 4 or 5 companies, many of them out of Peru, and all the consulting firms tell them the same thing. So now they didn't do anything. Another case, in in one conference I work with people here. They told me Marita, we will hire a data scientist because we have a lot of data and we don't know how to take advantage of it. And my question was, well, okay, what problems do you want to solve? The answer was there were no answer. So the people exactly didn't know what to do. And this really is not something difficult, so you have no space to do it. Another experience called me another big company here, and they told me, Marita, we have invested a lot of money in a corporative data warehouse, but we don't have the right information. Why? Then the IT people told me we have extracted all the data of the sources and feed the model. We don't know what happens. We made a deep assessment. We really worked hard with my equipment, with my team, and then we made an assessment of the data model they designed, about the processes, and about the comparison of the business process and the IT process. They had a business process in the ERP, and we found that this was not the same of the business process they find. Here was the mistake. They thought that you extracting the data with no business rules different, they will find the same. This was the problem. Apart from that, what we always used to find is that the segments of the clients were not that correct. So what can you see in this? So what I see is that the sexiest job of the world transformed to a very sacrificed one. So the data scientists cannot do many things if the data of the business is not the data, the process, the rules, and the strategy are not aligned. The strategy of the business. And that's why, in resume, the reason because the results are not what people expected for. So, what we can do, what kind of reflections we can make of these situations? First of all, it's very important to know, um, business people, IT people, to know my business model. I show you here the canvas only because of didactic ways, not exactly what I use, but I think the representation is very good. We have to know the business model. This is very important. The business model is how do we make money? How we are going to do to make money, more money. What is my value purpose? We have to know what are the segments of my customers, what are the pains of my customers, what are the gains of my customers, what are the things that my customers have to do. So in this way, because of the segments, we can define the pain relievers, the gain realtors. In this way, we define the products and services that I have to sell. I used to say the products, the services, and the type of engagement. Because if you have a segment A or a VIP segment or a segment B or a segment C, the commitment is the same, but maybe the time of the delivery wouldn't be the same because the companies have the same resources. So your resources have to be prioritized maybe for the A segment. And what happens to this? How do I control, how do I track the products, the services, the customers, and the commitment? I can track it on the data and on the processes. So here is something very, very important. The operative model. The operative model is a way we can put on working the strategy, make, and execution. So in the operative model, we have the processes, the organization, the IT, the culture, the data here is in the performance metrics, the talent, the right people to the right process and the right decisions. So you have data in all of this. No, you have data also in IT. You need to find the way the systems help the business with an indicator of disponibility. So uh, I think that these are the things, the frameworks, the data that we should analyze, find, put to work. Here is what we have to see. If you see, I am not talking about specifically IT. I am not talking about specifically the business. I think the world right now, specifically in this moment with a digital era, the digital work, digital business model, we have to work. We have a business IT, no, not the IT business with IT. So the business model is applied, is better because of IT. So if the business people do not make so efforts to learn more IT, to learn more technology, we will continue having these problems. So what I say, what is the challenge? What we have to do? Well, I think that the challenge is best of all, first of all, understand our business model. Understand our business model that begins with the customer segments that define of the value purpose because of any customer segment, what kind of relation we need with each segment, the channels that we use. Right now, we have more channels. Right now, with digital tools, we have the opportunity to sell directly to the customers instead of the traditional channels that many vendors in the street or in the market talking with each customer. We have in Peru a case of exit of a company, a financial company, that implemented a digital model, and they increased their clients in 3x and 200%. So because of the relation of with our customers, we gain the revenue streams. In the internal space, we have our suppliers, key resources, key activities, and our cost structure. So this is, if you realize this is all aligned, surely people say, well, I know that, no? But really, we have to know it very well. We have to take advantage of the opportunities. We have to find the opportunities first of all, because they always change. We always have risks. The competency in this moment is very different from many years ago because of the digital models. And in the internal part, we have some strengths that we should enhance. We have always some weakness that we should manage. Well, finally, this is what we call strategic plan. And first of all, what we should know and what we have to track and always work on is in the strategic model, a strategic plan. This is my light, the light of any company in all the points that we have to work. So this is the challenge. I like this graphic, this drawing, because the business model, Canvas business model, looks like a data model, and it's real. The data model have to be the representation of the business model. Well, this is an STAR model, a BI model, no, but this shouldn't be something difficult. The people say that always the business intelligence, the data lakes are something very, very difficult, oh, so sacrifice. But that's because we use, we don't use to see, first of all, these relations, this challenge, the way we make money, the way we monetize the value purpose. This is the challenge. Translate the business model to the data model. And we need to track the business model from the data model. We need a good data model, learning about the business model um, to track my business model. And this is what we call the business analytic methodology. I am not talking about specifically here about big data, data science. Not for me, for us, for my company, this is holistic. We can talk about descriptive analytics, predictive analytics, what the company needs. Because the question isn't, we need to add value with our data. No, the real question is what kind of problems we have to solve. No, maybe the problem is my problem is I have not a good efficiency. Why is this? You have data for that. Maybe my problem is my segments are not good. They are not giving me the profit that they used to give. Oh, okay. Maybe we have to define an analytical model to learn about with external data to analyze my customers, my old customers and my new customers, to learn what happened with them. So we can predict my demand. So if we talk about a different culture, something that you guys, most of you are IT guys, well, in my experience, I can say that I begin working in marketing, and then I went to work to IT management. And what I really find, or I really found, is that the IT guys, the IT people really learn more of the business process, of the strategy process, mostly sometimes than the business people, because the business people sometimes think that the data issues and the process issues are a problem of the IT people. And the IT people, because of their challenge, we have to. Well, I can say that I am a business people and I am an IT people. So the challenge is to make good system informations, and to design and implement good system information or information systems. We need, first of all, to learn the business process, and we need to, first of all, learn the business challenge, the business problems, and the data. So the culture is, we have to know the business model, learn about it, the organizational structure that used to accompany the business model, the business process, the changing of this, the customer journey. Right now is very important because it's I think that business process and customer journey is the same. Only this is internal, but this is external. The kind of analysts we have, what is the reskilling that our business analysts should have, the data translators. This is something that people should learn. What we are talking about here is of a translation of the business model to a data model. And you will find that this is not something so difficult. Then, that's a way, for instance, I learned how to read data models. I do not design data models because I have no skills for that, but I know how to read it. So I think that something very good is when you, people of IT, teach your customers, your business users, how to read the data model. And they learn a lot and they will win more. And both, we will win more, no? And here we have all the tools and then the insights. And then after the insights, the actions. No, when some people of the business say, I need a machine learning. First of all, because please make some decisions, and then you will learn how to introduce a machine learning or artificial intelligence. This is something step by step. So we cannot begin with artificial intelligence if we really don't know what type of data we use. That is what we call information strategy that supports a culture, a data-driven culture. So,
Sorry, Marita.
yes.
Can I ask you a question? I like what you put together in terms of the business strategy on the slide. There's a few slides before. And a little bit higher up, if you go two or three slides back.
I didn't understand. Please, Howard.
If you could, you had one where you spoke about the business strategy under the business model that translates into the data model. You had those strengths and weaknesses, and I just
Okay.
if you, yeah. So is it that you use a SWOT analysis, because that seems to be your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats/risks. So are you doing a SWOT analysis on the business with respect to the data, or are you doing it in totality? Do you deal with all of the SWOTs, or you focus on how the data is, how we're battling to translate the data?
Yes. We in our methodology, we have our first part is called planning and strategy. So we try to convince our customers, and we have to make a good homework, a good work to convince them that we need to do something that we call strategy and planning in order to design a good BI platform. BI platform, I mean any platform, business intelligence, the data lake, analytic, any.
Right.
And first of all, we say we have to know what problems do you have. Because you have always the companies have these problems. And what we found a lot in many companies is that when we make a simple analysis of the customer segments they have, they lose money with some clients, and we show them. And we will find your profit, not your all profit of any customer. but the gross margin, that is more, that is easier and fast.
Right.
And when we find the gross margin, we show the people, usually the CEO, look what we find. So this
Okay.
means that you have to resegment and focus your efforts on the first segments.
Right.
And
Right.
maybe you have to change the price strategy. And always, and that's the way we say the data or the information that you need is that. So,
Okay.
what kind of data we have? For instance, the market of your customer is important, very important, because each different market have different needs. And I say, do you have the market in your CRM system? No. Okay. The market is an attribute. So you have to work a little to decide to make better decisions about your customers, and you have to put a market.
Right.
That's the form, the way we used to work.
Right. And I'm assuming you learned a lot of this importance when you were doing marketing.
Excuse me?
I'm assuming that your marketing experience taught you a lot about these different customer segments.
Yes. Our experience in marketing is very good, but I tell you another secret. When we work, and I think that you guys could feel the same. When you work in projects, in this kind of projects, you used to learn a lot of any of our clients. For instance, we have worked with banking. We learned about customer segments of banking because of the information of the clients.
I wasn't going to say anything. I was just going to ignore it.
I didn't know she was collecting.
Excuse me?
Sorry, I'm just there's just someone. I'll just mute them.
Done.
So,
Okay, thanks very much, Debbie. Sorry, Marita.
okay, what I say is that we have to learn about the customer segments. We have, sure, we know marketing. And we have learned a lot about the business process. And if the client have a specific process or a technical process, they participate in the project. For instance, a factory. A factory have very specific processes. But how do we help the factories? In the management processes? What we always find is the companies that have very technical people, for instance, some engineers, these companies have very good products, but the process of management is not good. And that's the part where we always help our people in the management process, not the technical process. And that is process, data, no, and other things.
Excellent. There's one other question. That's Japta, who asks the slide that you had on data translators. He's asking the question: can they be classified as data stewards?
Can we classify what?
You know, if you go forward on your slides, you know where you have that circle and you have data translators.
Okay. Here.
Yeah, and the question is asked: can the data translators be classified as data stewards?
Data student?
Stewardship. You know, your data stewards.
The data steward. Okay. Yes. Um, I think that it depends on the company. I think that the data translator is some skill that people used to have or used to learn um, as usual. And because there is a, I will say, some specific sense. For instance, I define myself as a project manager of these kinds of projects. I like to manage big projects of this, and I am a data translator, translator because of my experience,
Right.
and because of what I love to find solutions and find the things, those hidden things, or those things, those facts that people don't use to see. For instance, when I worked in Telefonica, we have to design an analytical model. My team, not me. I specifically do not work, I do not make analytical models, but I know how to manage it and how to guide my team.
Right.
And in some way, I classify one type of data, a hidden data. In Spanish, la data escondida, a hidden data,
Oh, okay.
because people have to go to the market to see what happened. Once we have a problem with public telephony, because here the little commerce, the stores, some stores in Lima, what we call bodegas, some stores buy public telephone in the, I will say, the black market, not the
Yeah.
good market. And
Gray market.
yeah, the gray market, um, and they buy a fixed line, a residential fixed line. So my company found this, and they were losing money because the people of the owner of these stores sell traffic, sell the service, and they win a lot of money, and they pay Telefonica as the residential people.
All
So my guy, one of my guys go to the market, and he stopped towards looking for a public telephone of the store, and he realized that the CDR, the call data records, should stop always with 120 seconds. No, so the real public telephone um, have some metric of these 120 seconds,
Oh,
something that
okay.
do not have the residential fixed line.
Right.
How did he realize that? He could do it, going to the market, looking to one store, and he found this, and then he said, "This is the data that we were losing. We didn't consider it." When he put it in the analytical model, he had the solution. So after all the work, Telefonica could win, I think, the 20 millions of soles
Sure.
in that time. So
So,
this is what I try to say is that the market, the process, the business as usual can give us another type of data. For instance, when I say the market of the customer, one attribute that the people do not consider in the system, in the CRM system, was the market. So that's what we call data that doesn't exist, that you
Right.
should teach. So there are many kinds of data that the practice show you.
Hmm. Marita, we got another question from Rob, and he says, is there a way that impatient business people can be given quick wins while the business and data models are being developed? So do we have to go away for 5 years and develop all this stuff before the business see anything, or how do you ensure that the business remain engaged and see the benefits of this work?
Well, no, Rob, we have to work. The practice of this and the experience showed us how to work in an agile way 20 years ago. We used to, when we consider and we make our first part that we call strategy and planning, we always find the data, the hidden data, the data that doesn't exist, and we show the business people the first key PIs that they need to maybe change the segments, to maybe change the organization of the vendors, to maybe um, introduce some changes in their markets. So what we say is after after the assessment and the phase of strategy and planning, we should put this is the sub projects or mini projects that we have to do to help you in your business,
Right.
not to help you in your data science, because our effort, our mission is not to give you the data science, is to give you solutions by data science, or maybe by some indicators or monetization or what you want, step by step. And always, in my experience, we begin with a new catalog of data, specifically the data of the products. In my presentation, you will find the data architecture. For instance, the data of any product in any company is the most used data. The data that use the vendors, the people of the factory, the people of logistics, procurement, and they all, different business people have different needs, different necessities. So
Okay.
we give them really quick wins.
Right.
I think that
Okay.
we can
Yeah.
continue. Well, I want to talk about this business case that is a business case of automotive market business model. And it's the same business model of equipments, any kind of equipment, trucks, tractors. And I want to remember this: who, what, how. And we will answer the first two. What? The product, that is a car. To whom? The client. And the product, we have many kinds of models, many kinds of cars. And then in a client, we can find a people who is the owner, so the one who pays, the driver. This is a very important person, the son of the owner. And then you will find why. Then another client is a company. Who are the important people here? The procurement manager, the decision maker that usually is the CEO, and the user. And here we can find always a driver too. And then what I found in many systems, in many clients, when we talk about the clients or when we look the data of the clients is this. In the client, we can find the financial agent, the bank who make the leasing. And is this a client? Well, the answer is no, no? And in the CRM system, where our clients used to use a CRM system, you have the account information, and you put the owner, the procurement manager, and the bank leasing. And because of the, at least here in Peru, the people used to buy a car using a leasing. So the banks are the owners of all or many of the cars, or maybe 80% of the cars of Lima or Peru. And the same question, is it the client? Was what? No. The bank is not the client, it's the financial agent. So this is a first, I think, result, or a first quick win. Well, look, we say we have to introduce some changes. Your client is a person, that a person is the account. Your client is a company, that is an account. The contacts, the important contacts of any client are many: the owner, the driver, the son of the driver, the procurement manager, the decision maker, the one that will buy more cars or not, and the driver and the user. The companies used to buy cars for the managers, for the operation, no? And the bank is a financial agent. A financial agent is a new entity that we have to put in our CRM system before the building of any data warehouse, or before the building of my strategy, my business strategy. Because if we have this and we have to decide to sell services, we won't sell the services to the financial agent. That's part of my business model. So we have to put another entity in the CRM system that is called financial agent. This is the first quick win. And this is what I found in many companies. Then the same question in the business: how do we make money? So what I try to say is that data help us a lot to make money, to make good clients, to make internal efficiencies. You have a car selling, so you make money selling cars. You have a car. Then the car will need always a lot of services in its own lifetime. So any car will produce money in its lifetime, in this vehicle lifetime. How it is produce money? With maintenance, preventive, mechanic services, spare parts, repair, maybe you have a crash, no, and the repair, the same, mechanic services, spare parts. And it is very important to bring them, to give the clients a very good attention, a very good service, because if the cars not always being repaired in the services of the store that they buy a car, they can change if they consider that the price is so high and the service is not good. So the business model we can show in different way. So you sell a car, you sew in seats. This is a seat. You have to make a good relationships with your customer. You germinate the seat. And if you want to have a successful business, you have to sell a lot of cars. This is a plantation that a lot of cars will give us a lot of services because you have a very good relationship with your customer and a very good price that will make you a sustainable business model. So how do we make money? All the cars sold, your client a person, your client a company, financial agent, no, not a client. So this is what we find in our companies. Once I have a challenge in one company to put to learn all the series of all the equipments, um, the name of the clients of each equipment, and the name of the client of each equipment. In that case, was the financial agent. More or less 80% of the cars have this name, and we defined a project that participated many stakeholders of this company, because the new CEO, whom I talked, realized that if he wanted to make money fastly, he should have a good data of each equipment sold. So the data is not um, something that we can put for the future. Is something that we should put first. If we don't have a good data, we won't have a good business. And here I will answer the another question: how do we make money about the business process? In the market sector of the car sectors, you have the first buyer. The company always have a process of the opportunity prospection. They import the car. The car enter to the warehouse stock. They for this buyer, they manage a credit, always with a financial agent. Then the car delivery, this guy have his car. Then he will use the guarantee of the car, the preventive maintenance. After some years, maybe 4 or maybe 3 or 5, at least the VIP segments, they sell the car. And this is a second buyer. So the business here is another business. The second buyer should continue using the services of these stores. So this company should know who is the second buyer. This company has to obtain the data of this second buyer. And we begin with the opportunity prospection with this person, because if he had a good experience with these cars, with this car, with this brand, this type of car, he will buy another car of the same brand, of the same company. So the opportunity prospection right now begins once again. No? So how goes on the business model? This way. So this is using in a resume way the business process. I am not considering all the business process. You will find the flow of the data, and this is this is an exercise that should be done by the IT people, the IT person with the business person, both together, because this is the way the IT people, the one who knows the data more than the business people, teach the business person how to use the data. And the business person will realize why they need to have a good data to make money. This is simple. But it's not simple, this situation, because I think that some barriers. The culture always need to have some work. So you have here the client, the product. I always say that the most challenge data is the product, because all the areas, all the people have different needs. Then the services, price, discount, delivery time. For instance, the delivery time is a metric that you will find only in the process. You will put it in the business rules, but you will control it, you will track it in the business process. Then, once again, how do we make money? Selling cars, services, and as soon as we sell more cars, we will make more services, more money. And the gross margin usually is more here than here. What do we need to know to make money? We need to know where is the car, who is the owner, the model, the years old, the number of kilometers, all the previous repair. Is the same owner who takes care of the repair. Here, it can be the son of the owner, the driver, no, the user, the data. If we want to make money, we need data, the entity and its attributes. This is something very important that the IT people, the IT guys, should teach the business guys, because here there are some missings with the business people. So the owner, the son of the owner, the driver, the new owner, name, segment, address, age, job, role, hobbies, sports. Procurement manager can be the owner too, to put this financial engine in your CRM system. This is very important. And here, a different company can have a different needs of data. This is because of the customer relationship strategy that you will that you will practice. Then the application architecture. That's why that is Where do you extract the data? CRM, the ERP, the warehouse stock, the ERP, and the system of the services. And the business architecture. I like this graphic because you have the value purpose. Really, you monetize your business because of the value purpose. The value purpose finally in data is this: the clients, the products, the price, and the business rules. The business rules are, for instance, the commitments, the engagement, the on-time delivery, the fill rate, um, the priority that you will have with the VIP segments, then the process. For instance, the vendor identify the opportunity, send a quote, the customer get a quote, send a purchase order, receive the purchase order, the vendor, import, so he import the car delivery, the owner received the car, the guarantee services, all the services, and look, here is the business process that is internal, and you here have the customer journey. So you realize that the customer journey is in the external market, the mirror of the business process in the internal phase. This is the business architecture. And then, look, you have to know what is your value purpose, what are your data entities and attributes, your business rules, your business process, your data flow, your IT process. And if you love your business, if you love your company, you have to do this. So what I should say, thank you very much. Thank you very much, guys, all the people here. And if you have any question, here I am.
Thank you so much.
Hi, Marita. Thanks so much. Just asking anybody if there are any questions for Marita. I think you did a great job in terms of showing us how to understand that business model and how to ask the questions of how do we make money and what data do we need to make money. I think it's very important. Any questions for Marita?
I have one, but it is about your dog.
This is Coco. It's not my dog. It's my nephew's dog.
Oh, he's adorable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much for a very informative discussion.
Thank you so much for your assistance.
So the one question I have, Marita, is I see you relate a lot to business processes. Do you include the business capabilities when we look at the architecture, or do you focus at a process level?
Well, I didn't listen very well, Howard.
Okay. The one thing that interested me was you've mentioned the business process, but not the business capability as one would define in almost the business architecture. Do you make use of the business capability map?
Yeah. Yes. What I try to say is the business capability math. That's what you say? Mathematics?
Yes. I see your focus is business process, and a lot of the times I like to start with the capability map before I get to processes, because they can change quite a lot when I define my my data architecture to support my process. How do you find that, and how do you mix those two?
Well, what I find is that uh, the people are very anxious. The people of the business people very anxious to use their math, but the the material for do this for use the math is the data.
Yeah.
For instance, 10 years ago, we designed one methodology to teach the managers of one bank, well, the third bank of Peru, and they had been they had a consulting of another firm, one of the big four, and they have defined some KPIs for each manager, and then the operations VP, vice presidents, um, contracted us, called us to automate, to make a data mart to put these KPIs. So we say we work with some methodology, working first of all with business mission, objective, metrics, and use the metrics so that the people should use the capabilities of mathematics in the metrics, simple metrics, first of all. And we change the methodology, and we teach them the methodology to use the metrics. And the metrics, to define the metrics is simple algebra, but using the data of the system. So what in algebra you see A plus B, in the system maybe is date 1 plus date 2 minor that because of the type of data you have. So you have
Right.
to put some changes to put, you have to use the data, and since the data, you have to make the metrics. So the capabilities of the maths were good, but they had to learn because of this fact that business people do not introduce themselves to the data because they were thinking that was an IT field.
Right.
They say the IT people should do this, and
No.
we have a group of, I think, 12 managers. Only 2 of them could make a good exercise, but the others we have to teach them 3 times, because there are some KPIs in banking, specifically the ones of credit cards, that are more challenging.
Right.
And we use the capabilities of mathematics, but we have to teach them that this begin with the data that you have. And if there's some data that you don't have, you have to use it to put it in the system, or if you can in an external file. But you have to begin by this data.
Right. Okay. Thank you. Any other questions? Craig, Berta, anything from your side? Oh. Marita, thank you very much. There's no other questions coming through. So I would just like to thank you so much for a wonderful presentation. Just to make it, I suppose, the most important part, and just to simplify that and explain what it is that drives us and how we need to relate. Thank you so much for your presentation. I do know that Monica had her hand up a lot earlier on, and she put it down. I wonder if she still has that question, or is there something that you'd like to say? Okay.
I think that this Monica is my
Yes.
my family.
Okay, wonderful.
She is a mother of the dog.
Okay, fantastic.
If
Wonderful.
this
My
Monica,
daughter's
she's
name
a
is also
mother of
Monica.
dog.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. Thank you once again, Marita. Thank you for your presentation. We really enjoyed it and appreciate it. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Cheers, Mark.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Howard,
Thank
I will
you.
send you my presentation. So if any
Please.
guy, any people need it, want it, you can send it
All right.
with no
If you
problem.
wouldn't mind, would you mind adding a website or your email on the presentation, and then they
Okay.
can contact you? That would be
Yes.
fantastic. All righty.
Well, thank you very much. I love the
Thanks.
DNA group of Southern Africa. I love Howard and family. Bye bye,
Thank you.
everybody.
All right.
Yes,
Bye.
yes.
Bye.
Bye. Gracias.